nothing, I am free. In myself I am free. I own no one, I am free. In myself I am free. In myself I am free. In myself I am free. I am free, ever free. In myself I am free. I am joyful, ever free. In myself I am free. I am blissful, ever free. In myself I am free. Hello friends, Nayaswami Hriman here, talking to you in these broadcasts, 5 broadcasts on the aesthetic way of achieving cosmic consciousness from one of Paramhansa Yogananda's original writings and his early lessons that he wrote, but generally are no longer published. Some of them are, some of them are not. So I'm continuing. And what I want to talk about here today, as I go through this lesson and these 5 broadcasts, is good habits versus human habits. No matter how long you have erred, there is hope for you. I don't know why I'm laughing, and there's hope for me too. And elsewhere, suddenly reading this brings to my mind something I just read the other day in a letter that Yogananda wrote to his dear friend and close disciple Rajarsi Yogananda, and that he also put in one of his lessons. I forget which lesson. He said that even though we aspire to do good works for God, to serve God in what we do, most people don't really know what the divine will is for us. We imagine that doing this or that is a good thing to do. But is it the divine will that we do that? What is our motivation for doing? Is it recognition by others? This is a very large topic, what our motivation is, but nonetheless, unless we tune in and ask, what is thy will, Lord, each and every day, and throughout the day as we contemplate new and take on new duties and tasks, then it'll always be, or it'll tend to be our subconscious mind sort of playing all the time and going round and around. He says, human habits of beholding yourself as the little body and its small playhouse in this world must be displaced by God habits. Human habit keeps reminding you of the little unreal happiness of name, fame, territory, and tiny, laughably valueless possessions. Wherever you are, look around, and particularly if you're at home, or walk through your home and look at all the little treasures you have in your home. I remember once many years ago, not many years ago, but when my dear mother passed away, and by that point, my father having predeceased her, she was just living in a retirement home, didn't have that much, but nonetheless, that very same day, members of my family and myself had to pack up her things from the retirement home, and we took bags and bags of things to Goodwill or to the trash. When I look around my room and I see all the junk, when I see all the stuff that I have, I have certain levels or degrees of interest in and memories of, sentiments for, and attachments to all these different things on my desk and in my room and pictures. But if I drop dead tomorrow, or even today, it's all going to end up in the trash. So why don't you try that little exercise? Walk around your house and imagine yourself long gone. Number one, you won't give a whit for all that junk, but truth is, no one else will either. Okay, so possess the universe instead, for the whole universe is yours. Isn't it interesting that the trajectory of human life, a little child has maybe his toys and his mommy and daddy, and the adult doesn't want, the teenager is happy to get rid of mommy and daddy, although just as happy to be supported by them. And so our trajectory is under, I won't say normal conditions, but we see it more and more that maybe I travel, I go to school, I learn about the world around me, I learn language, I learn different skills in mathematics, and nowadays, as I say, we can travel all over the world, and some people look out into the stars and so forth. So there is a natural tendency to expand the dominion, at least of our knowledge. And we try to collect wealth. We want a big bank account. We have investments. We have cars and houses and things like that. So for better or worse, it's at least our natural impulse to expand dominion. Now, some people do that by becoming kings and rulers and warriors and that sort of thing. Fine, whatever it is. But that natural impulse, motivated by whatever the motivation may be, is still natural. And so Yogananda here, is suggesting to us that we see ourselves as possessors of the universe. Doesn't it say in Genesis something to the effect that God gives to humanity dominion over the world and is supposed to care for it and so on? Well, we've done a lousy job of that, but we're supposed to do a better job. Okay. He says, the whole universe is yours, O Prince of all possessions. Forsake the slums of the beggar ego and its pitiful claims to its tinsel kingdom of material beggary. O Prince Image of God, never mind even if you must live for a few incarnations in the slum of matter, becoming attached to its mirage of reality. Never mind what length of time you have spent and must still spend identified with matter. All the ages past are as nothing compared to the eternity of time before you, that you may spend in the bosom of God in the full and conscious possession of his glory. Wow. You know, Yogananda tells the story how he went into, in New York City, into Radio City Music Hall. I've never been. I guess it's a music hall. Anyway, and so he bought a ticket. I guess in his day, they did tours during the day. I don't know. And so he bought a ticket, and he went in, and he felt he was the possessor of this grand whatever it was. And then he came back out and threw his ticket in the wastebasket and left it to the management. And when we travel and see beautiful things like the Grand Canyon or the Himalaya or Niagara Falls or whatever it may be, we should feel, at least in that moment, identified with. I mean, not in a negative way, but possessor. Feel that these grand beauties of nature are part of us. That's what he's saying. And then when you turn your gaze elsewhere or move on, then there's no attachment there. There's no identification, but it's part of your consciousness. No matter how long you have erred and sidetracked, you may now forsake the no longer attractive slums of ego and reclaim your kingdom of divine bliss in eternity. Well, one of the important ways of expanding and releasing identification is by sharing. Swami Kriyananda taught us, very apropos to the delusions of our particularly materialistic age of consumerism. He said, if you have the habit of overspending, let's say, not to overspend, but at least, if you try to contract and make yourself live within a budget, well, if you can do it, fine. But the impulse to spend has a lot of psychological roots, doesn't it? I'm not going to go into that. But nonetheless, he said, when you're spending, spend for others, maybe at the same time. Or you see something beautiful, as he told the story, he was traveling in Europe as a monk, and he had a very refined taste for things, aesthetically speaking. He saw a beautiful statue of the Virgin Mary, and he wanted to have it. So he did buy it, but then he gave it to one of the other people in the ashram. And then whenever from time to time he happened to see it there in that person's office, he could enjoy it. And so I've seen, working with fellow devotees, even among my yogi friends, there have been a number of cases of bankruptcy through credit card use. We're just sort of inclined in this culture to overspend for ourselves. And we shouldn't do that, of course. As Sri Yukteswar said, we should live within our purse. But nonetheless, one can begin to loosen the bonds of the impulse to buy things by trying to buy things for other people or for worthy causes and like that. And many of us, when we reach a certain age, it's natural to pick up things and give them to our children or give them to friends. And why wait till you're old and doddering like me to give away things? And so this is part of how we expand our dominion by first releasing our identification and attachment to the very small world that we live in, by giving things away. But in any case, as was the core thought to share with you today, is that thought of expanding your mind to, like for example, within your town, within your neighborhood, from time to time, perhaps going in to meditation or lying down to sleep or coming out of meditation or coming out of sleep, just with your eyes closed, try to see if you can visualize maybe first your whole house. Walk through the rooms of your house. Now go outside. Feel your yard if you have one. Feel the homes next to you or the apartment buildings or the city in which you live. Keep expanding that. That's a metaphysical meditation Yogananda gave in one of his other lessons. Okay, great souls, that's it for today. Stay tuned. All right.